Hi, this is Suzanne in Ohio. I have a project share for you today. I'd like to show you the latest journal that I've made. This is a woodland type journal / nature / bird, and it's quite chunky, but believe it or not, there's still room for more things. Underneath you'll see something laying here, and I want to show you right away. This is the special bag I made to hold the journal. I don't know if you can see inside or not, but it is lined. I made that lining out of taffeta so the journal would easily slide in and out. But the bag is made out of a vintage oil painting. And I split the painting in two and made the bag. I sewed it with some corners. That way it would bellow out and make plenty of room without squishing the journal. Let me show you the back. There's the second part of the painting. And then I also made pen and pencil holder out of the part of the oil painting and a luggage tag. And in this luggage tag you can pull the tag out and you can write the person's name on that side, which is part of the oil painting, or you can put it on the back side, which is backed with coffee dyed paper. So there's the bag. I think it turned out just wonderful. I was really happy with it. And believe it or not, it sewed on my sewing machine quite well. Pastoral, kind of a woodland cottage scene. So I'm going to move that out of the way and bring the journal back in so you can see that. I'll hold it so it's a little bit flatter. The entire cover is a fabric collage. This is a transfer print of a vintage textile bordered off with snippets. In the foreground are fabric applique mushrooms, some fibers, buttons. You can see the rolled flower, the leaves. And on the back, a couple more of my mushrooms and just small embellishments there. I tried to keep this journal kind of natural, neutral, and sort of halfway in between what I think people like. So it is embellished. It has a little bit of lace in it, but it's also nice for somebody that has a plainer taste also. The tie is simple. It's done with batik fabrics that match the inside lining. Now, the signatures are put in here in a traveler's notebook style. You can see they're on elastic bands there. And there are 3 signatures. And then there's an added bonus, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Some of the pages are stitched together from patterned paper. Most things are embellished with copies of my original artwork. But the first page is a flip out with lined for writing and my little collage birds. So now there's so much to this journal, I'm going to try to move fast so that you're not here all that long. This is a pocket made out of an old book page, and this is a print of an old textile. Again, more mushrooms, just some printouts from the internet. This is a coffee dyed page, but it also has a little printing on it from something I made myself called, I call them compilations. So this was music sheet compilations, then printed on coffee dyed paper, and it just gives a little embellishment. This compilation stuff kind of takes the place of putting a rubber stamp on each page, and it's different. It's real different. This side of it is a compilation of poem snippets, and yet it's still light enough, almost like a watermark, so you can write right on top of it. Now, I did not count the small pages in this journal. There's over 100 full-size pages, but these are, just consider them extra. So with 100 full-size pages, that gives you 200 surfaces for writing. Come on, camera. Let's see. There you go. Okay, so it gives you over 200 surfaces to write on, or mount photographs or whatever you want. Here's my first belly band. It's stamping on muslin fabric, and it holds this copy of a vintage photo packet. These are things that you got your photos back from the drugstore when you would get them developed. I copied both sides of it, stitched them together. Look at this. Look at the prices on this. Always on hand Kodaks, $5 and up, and Brownies, $2 and up. That's for cameras. This was from a drugstore down in Canton, Ohio, in the old part of town. And this piece of ephemera came to me in a bunch of stuff that one of my customers gave me. And everything else she gave me from this time was in the 1930s. So it's kind of a real treasure. But the photo album itself was so frail, I didn't want to do anything with it except copy it. But because I copied the inside, I also made the enclosures here that you can snip, you know, writings or photographs in there. Boy, I'm going to have to quit fooling that camera. Okay, so that slips in the belly band. Small writing page, and I made these by running paper through my sewing machine, so the writing lines are done with stitching. This is an old Ideals book order page, and if you look at the prices on it and the date, 1962. I've collected Ideals books since I was in the 2nd grade, and I have at least a couple hundred of them. Plain page with writing lines on it, a little bit of lace stitched on the top, a copy of 2 vintage textiles, I guess I'll just say. Plain paper, coffee stain paper, and this is a print of embroidery transfers. So did you know it works right on paper? So I ironed those right onto my coffee dyed paper to give a watermark type of decoration. Let me take the autofocus off of here and maybe it'll quit that. Okay, so tuck spot, just a piece of fabric, envelope. There are numerous tags in here. It would take too long to show you each and every one of them, but there's the left side of the envelope. And paper, plain paper, lined paper. This is a print of a collage, paper collage, mixed media collage that I had done. So I made a pocket out of it, and there's a tag. Again, same thing here, a pocket made out of vintage book pages. There's a pocket there. And then lots of collage embellishments right there. A print of an old textile. Print of textiles. Another one of my little collage birds. Plain pages. The other half of that envelope with tags in it. The only thing special here is this little book, and if you can see that, you can see the outline of a garden snail, and that's reverse osmosis done with coffee. And I created this little booklet with some designs that I cut out. So I have a snail, I have a hedgehog, I have a turtle, another snail, just as a watermark, very light. I like this snail. He's so cute. Let me see if I can get this a little closer. They really look nice, but yet they are real muted. Okay, just 2 more plain pages. So that little stitched together book can go anywhere you want to put it in the journal. Just plain pages, More vintage textiles printed on paper. The other half of the Ideals order form. Another embroidery transfer, plain page, stitched together page. And here's another compilation. This compilation was the other half of the poetry snippets. Again, you can write right on top of them. This is a little text spot page. It's the last page of the journal signature cover, and it's got a nice pocket here. This was collaged, and this is an old textile, and it has a tag and a little stamping on the back since it's kind of a floating pocket. Put in a text spot right there, and then this gives you a good view of the stitched together pattern paper, which make the outside of all the signatures. And when you open it up, the first page of the signature forms a pocket, and here's a large feather that I made, and you can write on the back of it. Copy of a vintage postcard. Music compilation page, printed on copy paper. Print of unfinished textile, and a copy of an old postcard with lines so it can be written on. And I waxed the paper here so you can kind of see through it. It's semi-transparent, and I have another video that tells you how I do that. This is a copy of a newspaper compilation, and I believe it's 1936, but I'll know for sure. But it's the Canton Repository, Canton, Ohio. So all of, 1934. So up in the 30s, from all that ephemera that my customer gave me. These are some botanical jelly prints, and I didn't do anything to them because they have plenty of surface to write on, or you can add things to them however you would want to decorate it and finish it out. You can obviously see the coffee dyed pages. Some are left plain. These are pages out of what's called the International Library of Poetry, Our Forgotten Graces. And so I got a huge book at the thrift store, and some of the poetry is so interesting. So I put some of those pages in here. Another compilation page of snippets. And prints of my original watercolors. Another text spot, side text spot right there. A vellum page. More newspaper compilation, 1931. Lined paper. Typing instruction book. And it's so interesting, I didn't put anything on it. It would be a wonderful place to tape photographs or use washi tape. That way, if you want to remove it, you can. Plain paper, the rest of the newspaper compilation. A print of a vintage handkerchief, and this page is waxed to turn it into vellum, if you want to think of it that way. Again, I have a YouTube video about how I do that, and it works wonderful for me. And a little lace tuck spot, one of my birds. This is a picture of one of my mixed media compilations, and I stitched it on the end there to give it a home. More snippets compilation, and a fabric tuck spot that's been stamped. Print of a vintage handkerchief. I just left it plain because I think it would make a nice photo mat if you wanted to. Lots of nature prints that I got off the net, free printables. More writing lines. Plain page on that side, but it's a botanical jelly print on this side. Newspaper prints. Again, embroidery transfer prints. And then here's the last part of the second signature cover, and it forms a pocket here. And this is one of my fabric collages, it's got a little pocket in the back and a little tab if you'd want to hang it up, but it's a complete fabric collage with a couple paper elements on the outside. So you could give that away or keep it in the journal, or write some secret notes and put them in the pocket in the back, whatever you'd want to do. Again, the outside of that paper that I stitched together, and on the first outside of the last signature on the first page is this pocket out of a vintage book, heavily collaged on the outside, and a pocket space right there. I don't know if I left, yeah, I did. I left another hidden pocket right there. So it's actually two pockets. I think you would have to be careful about putting anything thick in there. You wouldn't want to tear that paper. It's fairly strong. It's from a good book that I had, but I wouldn't put too much stress on it. So this forms a little tuck spot on this side, and this is one of my little fabric brooches or tags or whatever you want to call it. The flower part that you see was from a vintage textile, and I drew the bee and the ladybug on there and added the embellishments. So that's a little gift in there for you. And this is just a pocket made out of a page out of Ideal's book, and I tried to keep the entire poem intact. And you can stick tags in there. It's already got one in it. Coffee stain paper. This tuck spot is made out of a print of a vintage handkerchief. You can use it like that. Music page, genuine music page. More poetry. Plain. Book page. Map. Embroidery transfer, a lace tuck spot on top of a music compilation page, and I gave you one of my envelopes made out of prints of a vintage handkerchief. It's stitched around the flap. You can see these on another one of my YouTube videos if you want to know more about that. So just some lined paper which can act like a calendar. Little tuck spot, poetry compilation, page out of a county history book. This is Columbiana County, Ohio, and I don't know when it was printed, but it goes way back. And some of these dates on here are 1804, 1803, and it just is a county history of Columbiana County, Ohio. And just snippets. Another tuck spot, perfect for tags. Another envelope, tags, many tags. Oh, an old postcard and a part of a story or a poem. And there's another poetry snippet page. There's the so-called calendar page. User music compilation page. Map. County history page right there. No, I take that back. That was an Ideals article. Just love the color of the paper. More poetry. More music. Jelly print. Tuck spot made with the print of a vintage handkerchief. And then this is the back of the last signature, and I made a tuck spot with it and put this special tag in here. You can see more about this tag on another video that I made, but because it was woodlandy, I put it in here, and it opens up, and you have 4 pages of writing surface here, a little tuck spot for tag, and then it closes up and stays shut with that little tab. And then when you turn it over, You've got a pocket, and this was a copy of a vintage textile. And there's a part of it again. It says sing your own song and a woodland song. So that perfectly fit in there, and it went with the theme. Nice addition to that. Now that is the last signature right there. And what I'm sending along with this journal is this extra little pamphlet. And this was made with pretty much plain papers. These are jelly prints, of course. Green coffee stain paper, more jelly print, plain. There's the other side of jelly print. And then I put in one sheet of pattern paper that matched the color theme. More jelly prints. Those jelly prints turned out so good with those botanicals. Look at the leaf texturing in that, and the stems and the leaf. The other end of that paper, and that is a beautiful jelly print. You can see even some detail in that. That was a Queen Anne's lace. And then the inside. Now the cover was made with the cover from an Ideals book. So it's glossy and it's really firm. So that little pamphlet goes along with the journal, even though I'm not going to put it in the journal. And it is sewn together with a pamphlet stitch. You can see it right there, but it is a hidden spine. So there's no thread, stitch lines showing on the outside that holds the journal in it. Most of you know how to do that. I first stitched it to this little secondary spine and then glued the spine in. And just put a hole in there so that you could look through and see the bird. So that is an added bonus for you to decorate for yourself. And the entire book can be added to so that you're sort of doing your own style of decorating and making it your own. This is a floating pocket, I guess I would call it. The whole thing was made out of a greeting card and an Ideals book pages. So the colors went beautifully together, and lots of roses and things are in the fall, and these are fall leaves. So this is on a hinge, just so you can still see the leaves, and you can use that for a photo mount if you want to. On the other side, there is a pocket and a pocket. So 2 pockets and 2 pockets. And I put this little placket type thing there so that you could add thought-provoking words to it. The inside, you can see in there, it's the back side of a page, and then part of a poem from that page on the Ideals book. So there's many wonderful things for this journal. It was a labor of love. I sure enjoyed doing it. And I especially enjoyed making the bag. Beautiful oil painting. I'd like to rescue every one of them that I find at the thrift store. And I'll turn it over once more so you can see it. The back side. Even the handles and the ties are part of the oil painting. When I made the luggage tag, I had to cut this window out, and this is vinyl here, and I used the cutout part to stitch on the tag, and you could write your name or someone's name directly on there with a permanent magic marker if you'd want to. Or you could put a little snippet of a poem or anything. And the pencil case also, the top part of the oil painting. See the edge of the tree right there. So I hope you enjoyed looking at my journal. And this is Suzanne in Ohio. And I want to thank all the YouTubers who do such wonderful work and are so generous to put all of their tips and their hints and their tricks on there with their tutorials. It sure does take time to do that kind of thing. I'll put below in the description and the listing, or the listing for this journal and the bag to my Etsy site. And even if you're not interested in purchasing it, you can go there and see some more up close photos. So I hope you enjoyed sharing with me this beautiful journal. And please come back to my channel and watch again. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.